Hi guys. My voice still sounds terrible. I'm sorry, but I have to do this anyway. So here we go. Unit 5. Um okay, let's go. Next slide. Okay, Unit 5. This word is gist. It's not gist. It's gist. It's a noun and it means the substance or essence of a speech or text. So she noted the gist of each message. So she noted the essence of the message. So in this sentence, noted is the verb and it's in red because she is noting the substance of the message. Supposition, it's a noun and it means an uncertain belief. They were working on the supposition that his death was murder. So this is kind of close to surmise, right? It's the same type of idea. But supposition is only a noun, okay? It is not a verb like surmises. So in this sentence, they were working on the supposition. Working is the verb, right? So they were working on the uncertain belief. Recapitulate. This is where we get the word recap from. Like, can you recap something for me? It's a verb and it means to summarize and state again the main points of. So he began to recapitulate his argument with care. Here, recapitulate is the verb, so that's why it's in red. It just means to summarize or to say again. You might recapitulate a story for the police, for example. If you were filling out an accident report, you're summarizing or summing it up. A lot of times, English teachers want you to recapitulate your main points at the end of an essay. Penury. Penury is a noun, and it means extreme poverty or destitution. Obviously, this is a negatively toned word. The sentence is, he died in the state of virtual penury. So in this sentence, he died virtually broke in poverty, in destitution. Okay, it's extreme poverty. Make sure, you would not be in a state of penury if you just like, I don't know, had $5 left in your bank account. That's not penury. Penury is like you are a homeless person living under a bridge. That's living in a state of penury or virtual penury. Nebulous. Nebulous has two meanings to it. It's definitely a negatively toned word, and it means it's an adjective. Sorry about my voice again. It's an adjective, and it means either like it actually being cloudy or hazy, like a giant nebulous glow. So, like the fog, right, caused it to be very nebulous outside. Or it means confusing ideas or thoughts. So, like, if somebody's ideas are confusing or cloudy, you would describe their thoughts as nebulous. So, it was hard for me to follow the teacher's nebulous instructions, confusing or hazy instructions. Dilatory. This is an adjective and it means slow to act. He had been dilatory in appointing a solicitor. Dilatory is a negatively toned word. It just means that you were very slow to get something done. It's not like you wouldn't say like a snail is dilatory. You would say like you turned in the essay late because you were so dilatory. Like you had something to get done and you just chose to be slow about it. Um, in this sentence, had would be the verb, right? He had been dilatory. Dilatory is describing him. Reprove. Reprove is a verb, so it's something that you do, and it means to reprimand or censure someone. So you either tell them what they're doing is wrong, or you cut something that they did out. Okay, and it's you would do it to somebody. This is definitely a negatively toned word. So he was reproved for obscenity. So in this sentence, right, he was reprimanded for using curse words or something like that. Punctilious. Punctilious is an adjective and it means showing great attention to detail or correct behavior, being very proper. He was punctilious in proving every amenity for his guests. So, here in this sentence, providing would be the verb. And punctilious is the adjective describing him, saying that he was showing great attention to detail. If you were a cake decorator, you would want to be known as very punctilious, somebody who shows a lot of attention to detail. If you went into a very fancy restaurant, you'd hope that your waiter was very punctilious, paying attention to every detail. Beneficent. Beneficent is an adjective, and it means generous or doing good. A person, right? You're not going to describe a dog as beneficent. It's going to be a person's actions. So, benevolent, charitable, altruistic. A beneficent democracy upholds the laws of the Constitution. So here, upholds would be the verb. And the democracy is being described as beneficent. Cadaverous. It is an adjective. This is a negatively toned word. It means resembling a corpse in being very pale, thin, or bony, like a cadaver, like a dead body. So he had a cadaverous appearance. Here, the appearance is being described as cadaverous. Right? Had would be the verb. So he possessed a pale, thin, bony appearance. Oh, and I want to say this too. Cadaverous only has to do with things that are alive. Like you couldn't say, um, like the piece of paper was very cadaverous because the paper is pale, like really white. You can only apply this to people, saying like her expression was very cadaverous. She was very pale. Immutable, it's an adjective, and it means unchanging over time, or you can't change it. It's not possible. So, for example, unimmutable fact. The fact is the noun, and immutable is describing it. So, saying that the fact cannot change over time. Disabuse, it's a verb, and it means to persuade someone that the idea or belief is mistaken. He quickly disabused me from my fanciful notions. So disabused is the verb here. So he quickly tried to convince you that what you were doing was wrong. And specifically, this word has to do with convincing someone that what they believe is wrong. It's not just convincing them, I don't know, that they're a bad person or that they should loan you $5. It's convincing a person that an idea that they had is wrong. Atone, it's a verb and it means make amends or reparations. He was being helpful to atone for his past mistakes. Atone is the verb here, so it's a thing that you do. The context of this word is often used in a religious sense, like you would atone for your sins. And if you look at it, for is usually after the word atone. So you would atone for whatever. Tenuous. Tenuous is an adjective, and it means very weak or slight, insubstantial. So you would not use tenuous really to describe like a person being weak, right? You really wouldn't say the boy was so tenuous, he spent a lot of time in the gym. You would say the tenuous link between interest rates and investment is very flimsy. Or you could say my tenuous understanding of algebra gets in the way of me passing the class. So your weak or slight understanding. Again, it's not like you wouldn't describe a person as tenuous. Abstemious. Abstemious is an adjective. It means not indulgent or especially when eating and drinking. So if you know the word abstain, right, to abstain, it's very similar. It just means you stay away from when it comes to food and drink. So we only had a bottle, very abstemious of you, right? So you were not self-indulgent. And in general, abstemious is a positively toned word. Extenuating. Extenuating is a neutrally toned word. It usually has the word circumstance after it. It's a verb, and it's a verb and an adjective. It means to make guilt or offense seem less serious or more forgivable. So there were extenuating circumstances, circumstances that made the guilt seem less terrible. So I took your homework late because there was some extreme extenuating circumstances. Again, just to make life easy for you, you might want to use the word circumstance after extenuating. Fastidious, it's an adjective, and it means very attentive to or concerned with accuracy and detail. He chose his words with fastidious care. So here, fastidious is describing the care, right? So the child seemed fastidious about getting her fingers sticky or dirty, paying attention or concern with accuracy. Fastidious is different than, where's that word earlier on? Where was it? Punctilious. It's different than punctilious because punctilious has more to do with correct behavior, right? It means paying attention to detail, yes, but it also has to do with paying attention to detail because you want to behave correctly. Whereas fastidious has more to do with paying attention to detail and being accurate. Like you would want your accountant to be very fastidious. Incisive, it's an adjective. And you use this when you're talking about a person being intelligently analytical and clear thinking. She is an incisive critic, being sharp witted, not sharp, like you wouldn't say the knife was incisive. You would say her incisive intellect made her a great criminal investigator. Imperceptible. It's an adjective and it means impossible to perceive, impossible to figure out or to see. His head moved in an almost imperceptible nod. Here, imperceptible is describing the nod being the noun. So imperceptible, you couldn't tell it, you couldn't see that it was that his head was shaking back and forth. Immutable. I think we already did immutable. Okay. Okay, that's it. There are your words. Again, sorry for my voice.